My name is Christa-Lee McWatters Bond, and I'm one of the proprietors here at Local Lounge and Grill in Summerland at the Summerland Waterfront Resort. And it's a restaurant that we just opened a year ago. My father, Harry McWatters, and my husband, Cameron, and I left the wine business and opened a restaurant here, and it's all really about using local farmers, promoting local wines, local microbrews, and local ingredients wherever possible, because we live in such an amazing region that we're able to harvest all of these things right here. So,
and it kind of really ties it in just by one quick look at the wine list. It's very focused. It's all provincial, correct?
It is. Our wine list is 100% British Columbia VQA, so yeah.
And explain what you do with the distance reference on your wine list.
On our wine list, we've taken the 100-mile diet one step further, and on our wine list we've got the 100-kilometer wine diet. So on our wine list we list how far from the restaurant the winery is. So for instance, Sumac Ridge is just up the hill, it's 4 kilometers away. So all of our wines are from wineries within 100 kilometers of the restaurant here. So.
And I'm guessing that probably maybe 5 to 7 years ago, it would have been kind of risky to do a wine list that focused entirely on BC wines, but the industry's come a long ways.
It definitely has. I would say a few years ago you would have seen some restaurants definitely that were just focusing on British Columbia wines, but they were relatively small lists. I think we're one of the larger lists that focuses only on British Columbia wines, but we have over 160 wines on our wine list. And if my husband had his way, I'd stop buying now, but every month I'm like, oh, we gotta put this on the list too, because it's so great. There's just some phenomenal wines coming out of the region, and it really makes it hard when putting the list together, because now there are so many fantastic wines that just pair so great with the cuisine and the ingredients of the region as well, that really the marriage just works so well together. So
your reception, just from looking at the awards that you've received that are on display in the restaurant, says that other people are appreciating the work that you're doing here.
Yes, we've been very lucky in our first year of business to be recognized by so many great organizations and publications, such as Wine Press Northwest, winning Best BC Wine List. That was fantastic, and a huge award for us. Our chef as well has won a number of awards in the past year, so we're very pleased with how we've come out of the gates, and lucky to the response that we've received.
Talk a bit about Paul and how you got him, and I mean, he's a young guy.
He is a young guy. You know, we're very lucky. Cam and I, we had sort of decided we were going to do the restaurant. I was still working in the wine business as well, and he in the hospitality business. And we looked at the property. We had our concept together. We knew what we wanted to do. We'd had some conversations with Paul, knowing him. He most recently was at a golf course here in the Okanagan for 7 years as the executive chef. So we'd done quite a few functions together, winemakers dinners and whatnot. So we knew he was a good chef. However, kind of got far down the line here, and then we said, I hope he can cook. But he can, and he's phenomenal, and we couldn't ask for a better person to be partnered in such a business that we spend so many hours together. I've never met a chef that is so passionate about food, but puts in as many hours as Paul does as well, and has the passion for the ingredient, but also mentoring his team. He's such a mentor for the young apprentices he has coming up underneath him, that it's so great to see his leadership skills and be a partner with him. Our restaurant was originally a pub that was built in 1986, and it had gone through a number of different changes, and it closed many times. And then over the years, though, there's been a resort that's built around it. So the pub was originally built, and even the original pub owners weren't sure it was going to be successful, so they actually built the pub, apparently, and speaking to them, so that it could become their house if it needed to be. And so that's why there's so many levels on it. It could be the living room and the kitchen and the bedroom and whatnot, but it's been open and closed and whatnot. So really, when we took it over, it had been closed for 17 months, and we said we want to do something completely different. We don't want to just sell wings and nachos, and there's nothing against wings and nachos, but that's not really what we get excited about. And we're now right in the heart of wine country. We've got a great 4-star resort that sandwiches both sides of our building with both buildings, and it was really exciting to re-energize and totally reinvent what was here on the, and look at the lake. We've got an amazing property. So.
Mm-hmm. So, and then describe what happens in spring, summer, and fall out here on the dock.
Oh, there's always something going on. We're also right next to a wildlife sanctuary here, so there's always something going on between the beavers and the birds and the... I can't even count how many animals are happening there. But also in the summer, obviously, the lake is busy, so the dock is extremely busy with both traffic. My personal favorite time is actually in the middle of winter, though, when there's actually a snowstorm going on, and we've got the fireplaces going, and it's kind of a cozy feel in the lounge there. So it's pretty quiet out on the lake. Or you can see a storm on the lake, which is kind of cool, too. But there's every day it's different, and I think that's the magic of where we live here in the Okanagan too, is it's just, the landscape is so phenomenal. So. Well, I moved here when I was 6, yeah, so my family started Sumac Ridge Estate Winery, so that's where I grew up, literally. Child labor was alive and well in our household, so I made my first wine when I was 9, and yeah, both my brother and I grew up literally at the winery. But I left for a while. I do go to Vancouver. I think it's important that you do leave the Okanagan for a while, you know, because we live in a small town. I think it's important to go out and experience something else, to really appreciate what we have here. So yeah, I moved back here many years ago now, and thankful that I have, and yeah, we're just so lucky to live in a place such as this.
So what's it like being on the other side of the business?
It's definitely different. After 30 years of selling wine to now be the purchaser, it's interesting for sure. You know, you always have some perceptions of what your competitor was doing and what brands were hot and how those ones must fly off the shelf, and it's not necessarily always the case. So it's definitely interesting, and how the other wineries go to business actually as well, as far as the sales team and their winemaking philosophies, because you do a lot of competitive tasting as a winery. But seeing that last step of how they actually sell and the follow through it's been interesting for sure. Some of our other business. So we have not only the restaurant here at Local down at the waterfront, but we also have a liquor store as well, Local Liquor Market in Summerland, and it currently is just a 1,200 square foot liquor store, but we are just expanding to 7,200 square feet. So we're building a show kitchen and a tasting bar, and it will be one of the largest private liquor stores within the interior of British Columbia. And we plan on doing a lot of cooking classes with not only Paul, but our friends that we've met over the years of being in the industry. And so, you know, if friends want to come up for a weekend that happen to be chefs, you know, come for a visit, we might put them to a little class in the liquor store there as well. But we really want it to be an educational center as well. It also houses, my father and I have a business as well, Vintage Consulting Group, so we consult for people in the wine business as well. So of varying capacities, whether they need help winemaking or sales or marketing or bookkeeping, or they just need a lawyer or whatnot. So all aspects of it, and that will also be our office as well. So we'll be able to double use the space as well. And our plans are also to open the Okanagan Wine Academy and do intensive week-long courses for consumers that are a little more in depth than the average wine class, and show them behind the scenes of going into some of the wineries and going where the general public isn't generally able to go, but because of how many years we've both worked in the wine industry, some of those relationships that we've built, that's what that'll be. So yeah, a few things on the go. It's so exciting now with over 200 wineries in the province. You know, we're starting to be known. We're a small region because we don't produce a lot of wine, but the quality is just, it's phenomenal. And I, you know, encourage everyone to come and visit us, because we don't export a lot of wine. All of it really is sold here in the valley and here in the province. So you have to come and visit us here, unfortunately, or fortunately for us, I guess, you have to come and visit it. So.